Hello and welcome to Connect. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. On today's show, we'll have the CEO for Tourism Saskatoon, Stephanie Clovechok, talking about some opportunities for us to celebrate tourism here locally, as well as the executive chef, Steve Squire from Picaro and Cohen's Beer Republic, the winner of Canada's Great Kitchen Party. And as always, we'd like to connect with you. Follow us on Facebook to watch new and past interviews or email us at connectyxe@gmail.com. Hello and welcome to Connect. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. Today we have Stephanie Clovechok, the CEO of Tourism Saskatoon, newly appointed and hired to continue with the good work she's been doing and takes the reins of the organization amidst a very challenging time. Stephanie, thanks for taking a little break and joining us here on the show.
Thanks for having me, Randy. Really excited to chat.
I want to talk a little bit about yourself, first of all, and how you came to be in this role, or where you came from, and that skill set that you're bringing to our fine city.
You bet. So it was just 3 years ago that I arrived in Saskatoon, and I was coming from living in Calgary. I'm born and raised in between Calgary and the East Kootenays of British Columbia. And so when I was presented with the opportunity to move to Saskatoon, I quickly jumped on that opportunity, packed my two young children, and we came from Alberta. And so my role with Travel Alberta at the time back then was truly in destination development. And I was working province-wide to create new tourism experiences so that we could inspire travel throughout the province of Alberta that wasn't just focused in on the Canadian Rockies. And so when I came to Saskatoon, it was very obvious that we had more opportunity to do similar work here and start to unearth some of the best and most authentic storytellers here by creating new tourism experiences. And, you know, in a time like today, we're really realizing how important that work is in giving people more things to do that connect them to the people of the city, that connect them to the stories of the city, and help us all to be very proud of where we come from here in Saskatoon.
It was nice to hear that story about an Albertan coming to Saskatchewan for a change instead of the other way around. Uh, we've gone through some times here the past 9 or 10 months in 2020. Looking ahead to early spring of 21, it's still unknown, but there seems to be an innate focus on the people and our citizens that we have here in Saskatoon and Saskatchewan on the whole. It's really just a place without the people and the stories, like you just mentioned. What are some nuggets out there that people can look for and do in the winter months to get us through the spring?
I would say that there is nothing like being in Saskatchewan. There is a heart of this place that is only found here. And I have lived and traveled this entire country, if not the world, and I've never found people quite like Saskatchewanians. And so to say that this place is just a place without the people is such a beautiful statement because truly this place is everything because of the people. Now, there is a really unique humility that exists in Saskatchewan. And so that humility is, you know, there's a humble nature of people that I've really experienced and that we talk about a lot in our tourism organization, and that it's okay to celebrate what we have and celebrate the rich history and culture that exists here in Saskatoon. And so as we move into these colder winter months, what our team will be doing is emphasizing all of the things that people in the city can still be doing safely during additional, you know, tightening of restrictions within the COVID-19 protocols. And so what's really important is that, you know, many of us aren't going to be able to do the things and travel to the places that we typically would during the season. And so having staycations locally in our hotels, or, you know, taking a day trip out to Beaver Creek and coming back and having a staycation are great opportunities to really rest and rejuvenate and get out of our homes. But for people like me too, while I'm in my office today, there's been many times where we've been working from home. And something that I will do every 2 weeks now is go and work from a hotel space as well, and just really change the perspective of what we're doing and give ourselves the opportunity to connect not only to the local hotel spaces, which are beautiful and they are so incredibly run right now with safety and security at the forefront of everything that they're doing, but having culinary experiences. And I'll tell you something, Randy, there is actually absolutely nowhere else in Canada that has a culinary experience like our own that is so connected to agriculture. And in fact, the federal government of Canada has invested so much in Saskatoon, close to $1 million of culinary agriculture tourism development over the past year and a half. And so that really says something about who we are and the experience that we have. And I think that during COVID, having tourism experiences are so powerful because they really support small and medium enterprises that make up the framework and the fabric of our tourism industry, but also strengthen our supply chain. And so when we're talking about local food security and even local food sovereignty, by having local culinary experiences and supporting restaurateurs who are actively choosing to use local producers, does more than just fill our bellies with incredible food, but really strengthens the security and resilience of this place that we get to call home.
I think that's a key point that you're touching on, and that is we may have friends or family that come here from another part of the country or world, and we can say go to this hotel or eat over there, but many of us haven't done that. And maybe that's a good way to reinvigorate our salesmanship, I guess, if you would say it that way, of where we live. Um, if we're going to look at wintertime, are there any opportunities, understanding there's some parameters we're still working under, for sports and cultural types of things? You mentioned some day trips and things like that. Are
Mhm.
there some guidelines and maybe some things you can point a light on that we can maybe drive to or go and visit?
Absolutely. I think right now, Randy, we are heavily in conversations with provincial and municipal governments to support case by case approval of events that we're really hoping to incubate in the city this winter. And so while we're planning on all of those, there are a few that are getting ready to open. And, you know, I think that there is an abundance of trails in this city. And you and I were talking about snowshoes prior to the show starting. There are so many local vendors like Out of Bounds up on Broadway, Escape Sports down in Riversdale, and Ebb Source for Sports, who have such a great wealth of knowledge when it comes to needing the appropriate gear to be outdoors in the wintertime. We should have every opportunity to get outside this winter and give ourselves the opportunity to keep our mental and emotional well-being sound by getting outside and having those interactions in a safe and COVID-friendly way. So by going and renting snowshoes or cross-country skis, hitting the Meewasin Valley trails, those are great opportunities for us to encourage people to get outside. Also, just 45 minutes east of the city is an experience called Champaign County. And these folks have a really unique Western lifestyle experience, owned and operated by a family and run by the sheriff of Champaign County. And if you have not been out there, you need to go and experience the personality of the family members to start, but they're doing guided sleigh ride experiences throughout their property that come packaged with food experiences like a hot chocolate and a conversation by the fire and storytelling with the sheriff. A reminder that Optimist Hill is going to be reopening, and that's going to be an incredible experience for individuals and for family members alike. But do stay tuned because Tourism Saskatoon is just readying a winter campaign that we are going to launch across the city throughout the province in the next 2 weeks. We're so excited about this. We're partnering with a local creative agency called the Engagement Party, and we're actually working hand in hand with the Saskatoon Soap. So you can be sure that what we are about to share is going to be not only compelling, but very resonant to the Saskatchewan-based person.
You have to wonder if the name has party in it, if it's going to be fun or not. I like that already. Uh, you mentioned earlier with regards to the temperatures. I think that's an interesting point as well, that you're raising, is that, you can rent the equipment, but I think part of me wonders that if, we didn't think it was going to snow next year, I wouldn't rent them. I would buy them, but I think the opportunity's there. And I've also heard that there's no bad temperatures, just poor clothing. So I suppose that's a different way of looking at it. There were some awards, and they were handed out that Saskatoon kind of shone a little bit brighter amid some good competition out there. Can you expand a little bit on that?
The Tourism Saskatchewan Awards that took place just a couple of weeks ago saw Saskatoon pull in a number of awards. Wanuskewin Heritage Park, Mandy Pravda and her main productions, Jen Sharp, one of our local authors. Those are just a couple of the winners. And that's just a local Saskatchewan-based award ceremony that we were really pulling in some great accolades for. But further to that, we are being recognized on a national and global level right now. And this is where we really have the opportunity to move past this humble nature of us and start to celebrate the mark that we are making in the world and how many people we are inspiring to come and to travel here. And so while we have this gift of time and space, it's a really important time for those of us here in Saskatchewan to get to know the experiences of this place, to get to know the value of our destination. My family and I are actively taking at least one staycation in our hotels right now a month. And you know what, we would normally be potentially traveling on a ski trip, or my partner and I going to Mexico, but that's just a behavior that is so unnecessary when we have the opportunity to contribute to our local well-being and build some pride of place while we're at it.
I like that energy that you're bringing to the team. And how many staff would you have working there in the different departments that are there at tourism?
We have 13 staff, and it is a small but incredibly mighty team. And again, I think that it's important to note that this team of individuals has been completely sort of upheaved over the past number of months as we work in totally different ways. And so we have a dedicated team now who is working with me as we work with provincial and municipal governments, to incubate events. So there are things for families, couples, individuals to do within this city. So we create a level and a quality of life here that everybody in this community deserves. But we also have our team not stopping the pressure that they've got on the gas pedal to attract international business as well. So I'm so proud of this team, and there's nothing that I do individually from this seat, but it is a true team effort.
So if people are watching and want to get more information about Tourism Saskatoon or things that are happening in the community, how would they get a hold of you?
Our website's the best resource. It's tourismsaskatoon.com, and that's where you can find packaged offers for all of our staycation packages. But I also encourage people to come and visit us in the visitor center. Right now, we have complimentary handmade and locally made masks and hand sanitizer available here that align with a destination-wide safety and security pledge that we created called the Saskatoon Community Commitment. And we are committed to keeping this visitor center open, so we can continue to be a resource for the community, no matter what it is that people need right now.
Stephanie Clovechok with the Tourism Saskatoon organization. I want to thank you for taking some time today. And boy, you make me want to get out there and get going. Thanks for that.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, stay with us, folks. We're coming right back.